Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rifter number 16. Today we are going to talk about Q&A, question and answers focused on combat and combat related issues. Now, this is the big thing I've witnessed talking to people, having people talk about Palladium. Combat is the big problem. Well, hopefully we're going to overcome some of those problems today by talking about combat, how it's adjudicated, and how you can fit it so nicely into a tabletop game in your room. Let's go. Q&A. This issues column is a focus on hand-to-hand and range combat. As always, any game-related questions can be directed to rstott@palladiumbooks.com. Now, I don't recommend using that email. It probably won't work.
Yeah, I don't think that's not one that I'm aware of.
Yeah, not one I'm aware of either. So
use the contact. If you just use the contact button that's on the webpage, I think Wayne or Alex, I'm pretty sure it's Wayne, is like the curator of that. So he'll pass stuff like that on to Kevin. Just go to palladiumbooks.com, find whatever where the contact. I forget because I don't have it in front of me. It's like the About Us, Help, whatever. But there's a contact page on there, and just fill that out. It sends them an email.
All right. What are the rules for using SDC weapons against opponents in partial MDC armor? Partial. Okay. We have a couple of options here. Two possible set of rules. One, you make them roll a called shot. Called shot in this instance is 12 or better to strike a stationary target, 15 or higher to hit a moving target, and 17 or higher to hit a fast moving target. Now, I believe those rules have changed.
I don't remember those at all.
In Rift's Ultimate, I believe those rules have changed for that, but use the most updated rules.
I like those numbers though.
Yeah, called shot. That's one.
Yeah, that's the way I would do it.
It's the way you would do it? Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. I as a matter of fact, I would probably default to that too. The second option is to assign the armor an armor rating, in which case to hit the character wearing the armor, you have to go above the AR. If you go above the armor rating, you hit the flesh. If you get below the armor rating, you hit the MDC armor, which obviously does no damage because you're using an SDC weapon. Now, this one, I would actually use more because there is already a precedent for this. In the original Rifts book, the Cyber Knight had partial MDC armor grafted into his body, and it had an armor rating. If you struck below the armor rating, the MDC armor took it. If you did over, then his body took it, and Squishy Boy is dead. I believe they got rid of that in the Rift's Ultimate book when they redid it. But there is precedent for this. Partial armor has a precedented armor rating in an MDC environment. So you don't even have to make stuff up. You just copy the old I just said the name of the OCC. Cyber Knight.
Cyber
yeah. Yeah, you just copy the old rules for the Cyber Knight and you're good to go. So you could go either way. All right. Can a person be knocked down or injured while wearing MDC body armor? Yes. Yes, that's the short answer. Yes, yes, you can. The longer answer is yes. Attacks designed to trip, knock down, or pin hold will work normally, although any serious damage inflicted is likely to be prevented by the body armor, unless the person who is pinning you, doing crush damage to you is a supernatural strength. Then, it'll do mega damage. Likewise, getting struck by a fast, heavy vehicle, explosion, or falling, or getting knocked back dozens of yards, meters will cause a character inside to take damage from the force of the impact. Okay, in Heroes Unlimited and in Rifts, there are rules for this. Inside mega damage armor, you can still get your brain rattled. You still rattle around in there. So if you take an explosion, or you get hit by a fast-moving vehicle, or you fall off a cliff, you will take SDC damage when you get impacted either at the ground or, because you rattled around inside your armor or inside your vehicle. And there are charts and tables for what kind of damage, how much, what quality, whatever that it is. It's in Heroes Unlimited and it's in Rifts. But in case you don't have that, some of it is right here. Damage. Inflict 1d6 hit points SCC damage for every 20 feet one falls or is knocked back. And figure 1d6 points of damage every 20 mega damage in an explosion. Round down. If the fall knockback is 100 feet or more, the damage is 100 MD or more, there's a 65% chance of being temporarily knocked out for 1d6 melee rounds. Double if the damage or distance is significantly greater. So,
I kind of like that because it reminds me a little bit of BattleTech. BattleTech has if you fall in your mech, your pilot can take damage.
Yes,
Or
you
does
get
take
rattled
damage.
around.
And and there are other things that can happen as well that where the pilot can take damage, even though you're still surrounded by tons and tons and tons of armor. It makes sense.
Yeah. And of course, just like everything else, when you are knocked down, you take initiative penalties and you lose attacks per melee. Can characters have more than one hand-to-hand skill? If so, are the bonuses cumulative or only the best bonus chosen? Not exactly. Other physical skills like boxing and wrestling offer additional bonuses. All these bonuses are cumulative. But in Rifts and every other Palladium game I've seen, you can only get one hand-to-hand combat skill. Or none at all. You get one. You can upgrade it, but you don't get both. You get the upgraded one. You get the highest one. And that's it. So they don't stack because you can't have two. So they can't stack. What is the damage bonus for supernatural physical strength that goes off the existing supernatural physical damage tables? Okay, in the supernatural damage tables, it actually says at the bottom for every 10 points, whatever, you get a further 10 points of damage. It says it on the table itself in all the books that have a supernatural damage table. So I don't know why this Q&A is here. Are hand-to-hand bonuses combined with weapon proficiencies? Yes and no. Yes, for ancient and or melee weapons, clubs, swords, spears, bow and arrow, etc. Your physical prowess and your strength can factor into also your weapon proficiency bonus. But modern weapons do not. You only get your weapon proficiency bonus.
That's a rule that I see misused all the time.
Exactly right. Now, there are skills that add to weapon proficiency bonuses, like sharpshooting. The sharpshooting skill will add a bonus while aiming to any rifle. You also get your weapon proficiency bonus for rifle and your bonus for sharpshooting. But you don't get any physical prowess, you don't get any strength bonus, nothing like that. Just the bonus from the skills. What is a melee attack? Come on, man. How much time approximately is one? Could a ninja juicer or a mystic ninja draw his sword and strike in one attack? A melee attack is an action during a melee round. Melee rounds are 15 seconds long. During that time, some characters can perform 3 to 5 actions, some even more, like the juicers you're talking about. Drawing a sword is one action and striking is a second action. The only exception to that are OCCs with special abilities or special skills that allow for a thing like quick draw. If you have a quick draw skill or a quick draw special ability, you can draw as a free action. Other than that, it takes an action to ready a weapon. Do hand-to-hand physical strength damage bonuses apply to energy melee weapons? No. If the weapon is not physical, like for example, a psi sword, a flaming sword, or an energy sword, no strength bonuses apply. But vibro swords, it does apply because it is a physical weapon. That means pushing harder does more damage. Like, for example, if you're a Jedi, you wouldn't, in Palladium rules, you would not get a strength bonus because you don't have a physical blade. It's an energy blade. It just does the damage it does. That's it, which is extreme, but it still does the damage it does. Can you pick the same weapon proficiency twice to double bonuses? No. No, you may not.
I love that. Absolutely not. No.
Yes, you may not. But some different weapon proficiencies may offer an accumulative bonus. I already said that earlier. If you have a weapon proficiency in rifle and another skill in sharpshooting, these bonuses can stack in the right circumstances. Stuff like that can happen.
I actually created I don't want to call it a house rule. Oh my god, what a competitive shooter. weapon proficiency for it works for Palladium that allows you to do that, but it has so many restrictions you almost don't want to.
Mm.
And it's intentional. Yes, you are going to be a competition shooter. You are going to be able to take a pistol at 100 yards and make that little smiley face if you want. But the amount of money that you have to continue to invest into that to get a weapon that is suited to you, to go through ammo or eclipse constantly.
The cost and money and time of training
Yep.
and keeping those skills peak
Yep.
is going to be considerable. Yeah.
Yep.
One of the players in my group and I were having a disagreement about simultaneous attacks. Oh, this one's for Max. My friend thinks that if he's fighting something with more attacks per round than himself, he can call simultaneous attack and attack the same way he would be able to parry. No. Simultaneous attack, you are willfully giving up your ability to defend yourself. You cannot parry or dodge, or even auto dodge. You can't. You give up your ability to defend yourself whatsoever by striking at the same moment as your opponent. Now, the only other good side is your opponent can't defend himself either because he's in the middle of an attack. So, simultaneous attack is a strategery option. If you are a big brawler and he's a squishy little guy, you would probably want to simultaneously attack because he could dodge. He's quick. He's nimble. He could dodge you or parry you pretty well. You can absorb damage. He can't. You want to make sure he can't dodge or parry. So you would use simultaneous attack. But if you're the little guy, you probably wouldn't want to do this. I don't recommend it. But no, you cannot parry, dodge at all when you elect to simultaneous attack. You've given up that right. When you roll to dodge, does a roll of 4 before dodge bonuses mean you failed? There is no automatic failure for dodge rolls. The only time a dodge fails is when the roll to dodge is below the opponent's roll to strike. There is an auto failure for striking, but not for dodging. Now, this one is written in the book, but a lot of people don't see it or don't remember it or, didn't read it. It is true. No auto failure for dodging. The only auto failure possible is for striking. If a character has used up all of his attacks, is dodging still allowed? I assume so. Why would you assume that? Why would you assume that at all? I don't understand. Yes, dodging is still allowed. However, each dodge this melee round uses... Oh, okay, yeah. One of the character's attacks from the next round. That is rules as written, but I have never played that way.
Is that really rules as written? I don't remember that at all.
You can borrow actions from the next round to dodge.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't allow it. I don't allow it. You used up all your actions. You should have saved something, you dumbass.
Right.
I don't allow this. But technically, you can borrow from next round.
Well, all these years, I've never known that you could do that. Going through the books, running the games, and so forth. It just seems dumb to me. That's like banking stuff. Like, no, you just ran. Sorry, you ran out of time, or you ran out of the ability for your body to move this round.
That many times this round, that's as fast as you can move. You can't move anymore. So you get hit. The exception, of course, is auto dodge. Auto dodge is all day. Auto dodge is all day. It doesn't cost an action. So if you ran out of actions, doesn't matter. Auto dodge wins. How does auto dodge work? Well, let's talk about it. An automatic dodge works just like an automatic parry in that it does not use up any attacks to perform. Bonuses to auto dodge come from the character's physical prowess attribute and any special auto dodge bonuses. This is where a lot of people get messed up.
Yep.
Your dodge bonus, like you get a dodge bonus for your high level or from your because of your hand-to-hand combat, whatever. That does not apply to auto dodge. There are special bonuses called auto dodge bonuses. Those apply to auto dodge. Regular dodge bonuses do not. It's your raw physical prowess bonus and auto dodge bonus, and that's it. If I have a question regarding automatic dodges. Okay, so if I'm in a fight and I roll auto dodge and miss the roll, do I automatically divert to a normal dodge for that action? Or does the failure to automatic dodge just mean that I'm hit with no chance of a normal dodge? It's the latter. If you elect to auto dodge, you cannot, because of failure or really any reason, decide, oh no, now I want to parry or dodge. I'll use an action to try again. No. You've elected not to use an action. Auto dodge is the only thing you have. That's it. You don't get a second chance to dodge.
I don't get some of these questions.
But these are questions I've heard a lot.
Yeah, the armor one, I actually kind of get that one because that can affect a campaign. This one right here, this sounds like a player who got into a fight with his game master.
Yeah, basically yes. Are there any types of physical attacks you cannot parry, like a dragon's bite? Definitely. A parry is generally used to deflect or physically block an attack. So if an attack cannot be deflected or blocked, it cannot be parried. This means falling boulders, energy blasts, bullets, etc. cannot be parried. Likewise, if you have no shield, hand weapon, or arm guards to parry with, you cannot parry a sword strike with your bare hands. That's called electing to be hit. You're just going to take damage. For example, in a knife fight, parrying an opponent's arms is possible and is more often done than parrying the knife itself. But parrying an opponent's arms, I believe there's special rules for that. If you're not parrying the weapon, you're actually parrying the.
I don't remember. There might be. I don't remember that.
Yeah, and it depends on the weapon that you're being attacked with. If the weapon has reach, you probably won't be able to reach the person's arm to try and parry it. Why can't energy blast, bullets, or arrows be parried or dodged? Because it moves too fast. Now, there are exceptions. The superhuman fast people, there are exceptions. They're right here. Typical character, including juicers, crazies, and most superhumans and supernatural beings can try to dodge, but they get a flat D20 and -10. -12 if it's a burst. The traditional Rift's samurai is -2 to dodge arrows, -4 to dodge gunfire, energy blast. Still,
I don't know that. I don't know that OCC.
It's D20. It's still a flat D20, but they only get a -2, -4 instead of -10, -12. The Mystic Ninja in Rifts is -3 to dodge arrows, -6 to dodge gunfire or energy blasts. Those are your special things. Now, of course, there are OCCs that have come out after this. Remember, this was 24 years ago. So if it says in the OCC, it will tell you the penalty for dodging fast moving objects. Can a character attempt to parry an attack directed at someone else? Yes, it will count as the character's melee attack to do so because he must move in or lunge to perform the parry. So normally, if you have any kind of hand-to-hand combat, parry's automatic. But if you're parrying an attack to somebody else, you have to use your action to move there and then parry.
That's a good clarifying question.
Yeah,
I don't have an
that's
issue
nice.
with that one so
good.
much.
Yeah, that is good. Especially if you're playing like Heroes Unlimited, where you're supposed to be a super good guy and you have to protect Timmy from getting hit by the evil guy's negative energy blast, whatever, or knife. So how do I leap in front of the fireball aimed at the one-armed blind little orphan Timmy? Oh man, Timmy is really messed up already. Why would you want to save him? He's only got one arm and he's blind. You're probably helping him. Nope, we're moving on. Or how can I get one in the way of an attack directed at someone else? Well, here's how you do it. It will count as a single action, and as always, you must roll to strike. In this case, the strike being to hurl oneself in the path of destruction. High roll wins.
I would have rolled to dodge.
I would roll it, but the thing is, you're not trying to dodge.
I consider it the same type of movement.
I know, but in the game, it's not considered that apparently. So you are rolling to strike just as the opponent is rolling to strike Timmy. So you have to have a equal to or higher result than the attack on Timmy. If you do that, the attack hits you instead. Now, obviously, you cannot dodge, you cannot parry, you cannot auto dodge. Because, if you dodge or auto dodge, Timmy gets hit. And if you can't parry because you're putting your body in the way. So you don't have time to parry. So you just take damage for Timmy. That's what happens. You are the human shield for Timmy. Does rolling with a punch take an attack from the defending character? And if so, does it take his very next attack, leaving him on the defensive for his attacker's next strike? Or does the lost attack / action come off the defender's total number of attacks, letting him counter strike?
This is the age-old, but before you read the answer, this is that age-old Palladium question of how you handle attacks, per round, how you handle like the power punch. I handle it differently. Other people handle it a third way. That's really what this comes down to, is like that age-old question of like, but it takes 2 attacks per round. What happens next?
Let's find out. A roll with punch or impact will always count as a melee attack / action. And yes, it will be the character's next attack that is lost as he recovers from the attack he rolled with.
Not how I do it.
Yeah, not how you do it, but it's how I do it. It's how
I just let you keep using your actions until you're out of them.
See, I don't do it that way. And here is an example. When it states that the victim loses initiative and 1 attack, does that mean he loses his very next attack or just 1 from his total? See, I would use next attack. He would use from the total.
In this case, because it's usually based on a stun or something, in this case, I would actually say we're bypassing you this round. I'm talking when people use like abilities like power punch, leap kick, roll roll punch fall, something like this where the effect says, hey, the character loses the next attack. That's probably because you're like, whoa, like that. So I would absolutely skipping you, moving on to the next one.
Okay. The victim will lose his next attack, and no matter where he was in the combat order, he will be moved to last. Okay. For example, 2 characters A and B are fighting in that order initiative, and B manages to strike A, causing him to fall or stagger back. A loses 1 attack and initiative. A will not be able to strike back until the 3rd set of attacks and will be last in the initiative order, putting B in front. Initiative has changed. B is now before A instead of A before B. I know, cats and dogs living together, but it's the way it is. So, apparently, the proper way to do combat is everyone goes in initiative order 1 time, and then again, until you run out of actions, and then you get skipped. It goes around until everyone's out of actions, and then the new initiative happens again. If you lose an action, you lose your very next action, which means when your initiative order comes up, you do nothing. It goes to the next person.
Wait, so I have been doing it right?
No, that means you've been doing it wrong. For example, I'm A, you are B. I win initiative, you lose initiative. I use 1 action, then you use 1 action. Mm-hmm. I use 1 action, then you use 1 action. Mm-hmm. And that keeps going until one of us runs out.
Right.
And then that person goes twice in a row.
Yeah.
The next person goes twice in a row. But if you use a power attack, when you declare that power attack, you lose that action because you're winding up.
Yeah, I don't see that written anywhere, so I'm not going to agree to that.
Okay, you don't have to agree to it. Air is air and water is wet. So there we go.
Yeah, but you're not right. There's nowhere that it says that at all. That even with the roll with punch fall, that's its own separate action that you're taking.
I can understand here, but after this video is over, I'll bring it up in Heroes Unlimited, the actual rule book. Okay, the sequence of combat. I already did the sequence of combat. We already did this.
I just think it's open-ended where people, the 3 different ways that people do initiative, I think are all right based on the table.
I know that you do. All right. Can you please give me a summary of some standard forms of damage? Fire, normal fires, falling, asphyxiation, drowning, whatever. Sure. Damage from falling is 1d6 per 10 feet fallen. Damage from fire varies from 1 to 1d6 for torches to 5 to 5d6 for a house fire, depending on the size and intensity of the fire. There is no damage per se from asphyxiation or drowning. It has other effects that put the character into a coma or result in death. That is true. Not being able to breathe, you can hold your breath for your con in rounds. After that, you have to keep rolling. If you fail to roll, you start drowning. You have a number of rounds till you just die. You don't technically take damage. You will just end up dead. That's it. I was wondering, can a wolfen or ogre-sized character use single-handed human-sized weapons in the Palladium fantasy RPG? Could a gnome use a human-sized weapon? Or a human use a giant-sized weapon? In a lot of these cases, it may be possible, though generally the two-handed weapons a size class above cannot be used, and one-handed weapons could be used as two-handed. So you have to think about the size class of the weapon: small, medium, large. A small creature can use a small weapon one-handed. A small creature can use a medium weapon two-handed. A small creature cannot use a large weapon. A large creature can use a large weapon one-handed. A large, actually, probably even two-handed. A large creature can use a medium weapon. A large creature cannot use a small weapon. Their hands are probably bigger. They just can't use it effectively in combat. So it's basically doing that. Take the size. If you go more than two away, can't be used. Or with horrible minuses. Horrible minuses.
I just say use common sense. Why does that even have to be a rule?
Because players like rules.
I know.
Does weapon proficiency lance give bonuses to strike and parry at certain levels like the other weapons? That is not listed under the way of the lance. They do not receive any bonuses to strike and parry. A lance is a type of spear, and if not used in the traditional style of a lance, it could be used as a spear using spear bonuses. But the bonuses from lance cannot be combined with the bonuses from spear. So, what he's saying here is that if you're using a lance like a lance and you have weapon proficiency lance, nothing happens. If you're using a lance like a lance and you also have weapon proficiency spear, nothing happens. If you're using a lance like a spear, you get to use weapon proficiency spear bonuses, and that's it. Seems dumb. I wouldn't allow a spear to be used as a lance to be used as a spear. I think they're too radically different.
I'd allow you to use a spear. You're just not getting a bonus for it.
Yeah, you're not getting any bonuses because it's not weighted or shaped like a spear. I'm sorry,
Right.
It's just not. I wouldn't allow it. But apparently, by these Rifter rules, it's allowable. Would any of the weapon efficiencies apply to a sack full of doorknobs? Blunt, flail, normally blunt. A sack full of doorknobs. All right. I would have gone batteries, but okay. Blunt. Generally, most impromptu weapons will fall under the following proficiencies: blunt, chain, or even polearm for agricultural implements, like pitchfork. Pitchfork, I would say, is a polearm. Sure. But pitchfork, if you have weapon efficiency blunt, I would just categorize it as that.
Or if you're in the right setting, trident.
Yeah, trident, if the right setting, yeah. But for simplicity's sake, does a power punch always take up 2 attacks? Yes, a power punch will always take up 2 attacks unless specified otherwise.
And doesn't it have to be done as the first attack in the round too?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends on if it's listed that way. It really does. It's listed differently. If it's a power attack, because it's a special ability of your OCC or RCC, it's listed differently than if it's a power attack because of unarmed strategy. I do not want combat in my games to be a simple case of comparing die roll and adding in bonuses and penalties. What?
I have to see where he's going with this before I'll say.
So far, I'm not with you. Is it easy to add in tactics and other maneuvers as well as different strikes, etc., into the combat system? Yeah. Yes, it's entirely possible. Different forms of kicks and strikes can be used, and if you're using the optional armor rules from the Companion of Weapons, different weapons have different effects to different types of armor, penetrating value, stuff like that. So yes, you can complicate combat if you want. There's plenty of options for that. You can use the like I said, the Compendium of Weapons gives different types of bullets, different types of penetration values to make different types of armor more or less effective. You could also use that for knives and swords and stuff like that. The bigger the sword or axe or whatever, the more penetration it has because it has more weight. So it will penetrate certain kinds of armor more. You can do that if you want. If you find combat easy in Palladium, complicate it all the hell you want. Most people would not agree with you. And that is it. And we're going to end on the knight jousting on his motorcycle. All right, what do we have for comments?
I only pinned a couple of them here. Darthic says, I really like the idea of using AR for partial MDC armor. Makes a lot of things easier. You can use the baseline from other Palladium games.
Yeah. If you have the old riffs, the 1994 or whatever version, then it shows you what partial armor and partial MDC armor, what the air armor rating is. I believe it's 14 or 16. I can't remember exactly. The book is on the floor over there. I'm not going to go get it. But yeah, it just gives it to you. There you go.
I would use the other method.
Okay. In the Heroes Unlimited book, there is a power for bio armor that allows you to have partial armor. It does arms, chest, and waist, and it gives an armor rating for that. Just use your armor rating and make it MDC. That's it. Just use that armor rating. It's same partial armor. Use that. I think it's easier, but some people would like Max would want to go the called shot route, and that is also completely viable. Makes perfect sense as well.
The reason I go the called shot, because it never really describes in Palladium when you're doing man-on-man fighting, the whole main body thing, but I keep that into consideration. I mean, we were in the Air Force, we were taught to shoot center of mass. I know police are taught to shoot center of mass, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So most attacks you just kind of consider are center of mass, but if you want to hit somebody's arm, if you want to hit somebody's head, if you want to hit somebody's finger, those are always called shots. Yes. So, and like Heathen, I think both ways are absolutely viable. Whatever works better for your table. I would just do the called shot thing because
it's exactly as viable as the other way. I mean, I see the merit in both. And they both work.
Polyrobotic says, Q&A section is made from the most asked questions, not always the smartest questions.
Yeah. Last Rifter, some really dumb questions in that one. Some real bonehead questions. This one, compared to that, is very excusable. Because combat, in my experience, for most players, is the most confusing part of Palladium. So I'm expecting a large gamut of questions from smart to dumb. I'm expecting it.
Regan says, I hate that stupid dodge rule. Refuse to use it. That rule came up because of juicers and crazies and rifts.
Yeah, the whole can't dodge bullets or energy blasts or arrows or whatever unless your OCC specifies it is a possibility. I understand. I get it. I think personally that if you can fly or move at sonic speed, you should have no minuses to dodging bullets as long as you know it's coming. And that's exactly what it says when you're trying to dodge a fast moving thing. Even if your OCC or RCC allows it, you have to know it's happening. You can't auto dodge from behind you. You have to see it happening, and then you can try and parry or dodge it. As long as you also have the ability because of your OCC or superpowers. But I understand your comment. I get it.
And one more from him as well. So some of these questions are written either by children or by very whiny players.
Well, Max actually said something like that. He was a little nicer than you were. But a lot of these questions seem like a player was fighting with a game master.
Yeah.
And the game master is like, fine, I'll just write into Palladium and they'll answer it. And I don't have to fight with you anymore. A lot of these questions seem like that. I agree.
Yeah, that one that was above sounded like it was, I forget which one. What the hell did you ask? Oh, I can't scroll up on your page because can you scroll up for a second?
Sure.
I want to see. I forget which one it was you asked. I was on that side of this the page, if I remember correctly. Attack. There we go. Is that it right there? Why can't energy blast?
Bullets or arrows be parried or dodged?
I don't think it was that. There's one. Okay, we're not gonna spend time looking for all of them, but there's one in there where I'm just thinking the only reason you asked this question was because it's the one about the auto dodge. Can I auto dodge
Oh,
and then
right, yeah,
dodge
yeah. How
afterwards?
does auto dodge work? And what kind of bonuses for auto dodge do you get?
No, it's can I auto dodge and then dodge
Oh, and then
afterward?
dodge or parry? Yeah, yeah.
That was a player going, well, that's auto dodge. It didn't take one of my actions. I should have my action right now. And the game master saying, no, you idiot. You still took the time to do it. You just had natural reflexes that allowed you to do it quickly. We're on to the next person.
Actually,
bullshit. I should have my auto dodge now. Or
you have to explain it like this. You decided not to dodge or parry. You decided to not use an action already. You decided to use auto dodge instead. That's what happened.
Yeah, I don't like the decide part because it doesn't feel like auto dodge then to me. Auto dodge just seems like it's just, whoa, shit, natural reflex.
No, auto dodge isn't magic. You have to know you're being attacked.
No, I didn't say it was magic. I just what I'm
you
saying.
Know you're being attacked.
As far as the player, no, the character, not the player. The character goes. It's just yes. As the player, you decide to do that, but as the character, you're just reacting to the situation, not even thinking about it.
True. But so as the player, you decided to not use an action. Yeah. So you can't just change your decision after you've been hit. Because that's really the crux of it. Once you fail a dodge, guess what happened? You got hit.
The only difference is I'm looking at it from the character side, you're looking at it from the player side. Either way, it's the same thing.
If you fail a dodge or parry, that means you got hit.
Yeah.
You can't try and dodge again after you've been hit.
Right.
Yeah. So just explain it like that. You rolled a dodge.
But I have the other dodge. I did my auto dodge. I should have my
dodge an attack that already hit you.
But it didn't hit yet. I still get to roll to try to beat.
You failed a dodge. That means it hit.
But that's just auto dodge. Now I want to use the action to really dodge. You know how?
I'm sorry. You're focusing on the word auto. I'm focusing on the word dodge.
But that's the difference. Otherwise, dodge is dodge. Literally, one says auto for the purposes of it being. By the way, I don't agree with what I'm saying.
No. He's being a pompous dick on purpose.
No, but I'm arguing like the player would argue.
Yeah, are you arguing like an ignorant player? Yeah. The problem is when you fail a dodge or a parry, you get hit. That's it. An auto dodge is a dodge.
Well, I don't understand what the fucking point is of shouldn't be cursing. Having auto dodges, and if I can't,
because
no fallback after.
Because you did not use an action in the attempt.
Right.
That's the benefit. That's the benefit. Here, okay, an auto dodge is to dodge as a red car is to a car. They're both cars. If you fail a dodge, you get hit. Auto means nothing. You chose to auto dodge instead of using an action for a regular dodge. You failed a dodge, you got hit. That's it. That's what happens. That's the order of operation.
I don't know what this exactly means. Polyrobotics says, up until this book, auto dodge is ruled as auto but not a dodge.
I don't think that's true.
Like I said, I 100% agree with that ruling. I agree with what Heathen Dog's saying. I'm only arguing it from the side that I've seen people, and maybe not specifically to that ability, but just generally speaking, abilities like that, they'll fixate on something like that, and you'll have to prove it to them. So that's why this game master, maybe player, whoever, wrote it in like, oh, I'm going to show you, and then got the answer there. So... differences: you can either dodge by reflex,
yes,
at a lower bonus, or concentrate, ensuring you will dodge, but with a higher bonus.
Walter's explaining it just like I did. You chose to not use an action to dodge, so instead you auto dodged.
But reflex implies that there was no choice involved; it just happened.
No. But the player, through the rules of the game, which we have to follow, chose to not use an action. Chose to dodge this way, and then failed. But when you fail a dodge, the only repercussion for that is you got hit. That's it.
I can't argue it any different because I agree with the rule. That's the thing.
Yeah. I mean, if a player keeps coming at you like Max was simulating a player keep coming at me, saying, yeah, but the auto dodge, I can dodge again because I can still use an action. I didn't use it. No, auto dodge and dodge is a choice. You choose one.
Reflexes aren't choices.
No, you don't get it. You have to play by the rules of the game. So the rules of the game say you have to choose regular dodge or auto dodge. And the
Yeah,
rules of the
you know
game,
me. For me, it even comes. Even if we were to disagree, I don't like stacking of abilities.
yeah, you don't like that at all. I understand. That's why you don't like roll with punch fall, because it once you get hit,
Oh,
you can dodge or parry. Failing that, you can
yeah.
also take half damage.
I know the argument that people use on that one is always, yeah, but it uses up an action. You're just wasting another action with it. And I was like, look, man, you took the damage. Fucking deal with it. Let's move on. I like roll with. I gotta stop cussing. I like the idea of roll with punch fall when it literally comes to the fall side of it. That part. But once you're punched in the face, you're not rolling. You just take your damage,
No.
suck it up.
If I would say if you have wrestling or boxing, roll with punch fall makes much more sense because you're trained to move your body to try and absorb some of that impact. Boxers are trained that way.
Yeah, but I would say that that's just for me. I would just look at say, well, your SDC accounts for that, so I'm not.
No, I know. I get it. I get it. But
Yeah.
hey, it's also a mechanic in there.
Yeah,
So,
no.
yeah.
I do. You know, I said I take it out of my games, but I also know that we've rolled it in games, so I don't know if I actually fully take it out.
If I didn't like it, I would say if you don't have at least hand-to-hand expert or boxing or wrestling, you can't use it for hand-to-hand combat. You can still use it for actual falls and explosions, maybe, but not for hand-to-hand combat. You have to have a higher level of training to be able to use it in such a split-second situation. I would do that. But, that would be a house rule because it doesn't follow the rules. All right, is that what we got?
There's one more. By the way, we had a super chat. Did we read it? Why does super chats not get starred automatically?
They don't get starred automatically in this.
That is really annoying to me. So sorry, CPK. Your Restream doesn't star your super chats automatically. But he says, "What if Timmy is of the Prosic family? His arms and eyes are being delivered."
Delivered. Yeah. He's going to get bionic replacements. But actually, there's another section of this book somewhere that I was reading yesterday that I chose not to showcase, but you cannot put bionics. No, it's in the teen one. Yes, it's in the teen one. I'm going to go to the next. You cannot put bionics in children because after about a week to a month, 2-3 months on the outside, it no longer fits. They've grown out of it and connections are now unstable and all that kind of crap. So it literally doesn't allow you to put bionics in children.
Interesting. Okay. The last thing, and this is up to you because I don't mind describing it quickly. I have no. We already know that we disagree, or not disagree. We just do it differently. He's like, bring it up now. I think it was for the purposes of. I know it was for talking about how we handle the combat round, but just to explain it to folks.
All right, let me get the Heroes Unlimited book.
While he's doing that, I'll just explain how I'm doing it while he goes through the book like that. For the purposes of going through phases, because I think it's silly that if you think of it that you have 4 actions, 5, let's do 5. 5's an easier number to do the math on. You have 5 actions per round in a 15-second round. That effectively means you're basically doing 1 action every 3 seconds. If something takes 2 actions to do, I don't believe in the okay, I'm gonna hit you and boom. Yeah, I don't believe that's stupid. So, but I do believe that it takes exertion, it takes energy, it takes a little bit out of you for that round. I've played football, I played other sports where you might not slow down necessarily, but you're not performing all the actions, we'll call it, in terms of Palladium that you would be doing that round. So I just say it takes up 2 of your actions and I move on. So if you do a power punch, and you've got 5 attacks per round, you now have 3 left. But when it comes to back around to you in the next phase, as they like to call it now, you still get to take your action. You're not sitting there like, oh, I'm so tired, I can't punch. Or with the build, I've seen people do the build-up thing. I forget if you do the cooldown or the build-up.
I do the build-up, yeah.
Build-up, okay. Again, the build-up is, okay, I'm going to hit you. And the cooldown is you're standing there, oh, I punched, I can't, Or maybe you did the superhero drop and you're still on your knees or some crap. I just don't see it that way, so I let you keep going until you're out of actions.
Book on this computer, that's weird.
But there are people who do it different ways as well. Like we were just talking while he's looking for that. There are the people who do the the power up version. There are people who do the cool down version. Where after you do the attack, you skip one. Another one will do it takes you to. I think again. I don't know why he just told me. You do the power up, right?
Yeah.
So if it takes 2 actions, this first round you're skipped because you're basically powering up the action, and then the next round you do it. It's different strokes for different folks. I don't personally. I'm like, I don't care how you run it as long as it's consistent across the board. They all sort of make sense to me. I just think that the
here it is.
Power-up and cooldown is silly.
I got it. Here it is. You're not going to like it.
I'm not going to care.
Here we go. Power punch. A power punch always counts as 2 melee actions. The blow lands on the second action. A power kick can also be done for character normal PS. It does double damage, blah, blah, blah. 1d4 times plus blah. Characters with extraordinary or augmented PS around strictly indicate damage inflicted and listed. The blow lands on the second action. Now, if you take into account the proper way to do initiative order is everyone takes 1 action on their initiative around the table, and then it starts with the second round, the second initiative, everyone takes 1 action. The third initiative, everyone takes another action until you run out of actions and you are skipped. It goes to someone who has actions left. And when everyone uses all their actions, that round is over. That's how Palladium is supposed to be done. That's the rules as written.
Well, that's rules and written in Rifts. Is that somewhere else? And I'm not trying to quibble over. I'm just wondering because I didn't see that when I ran TMNT. I didn't dive into Heroes Unlimited that much, but when I did my TMNT stuff,
Heroes Unlimited is the same way. Heroes Unlimited is the same way. The only time I played TMNT is with you like 20 years ago. 30 years ago. Almost 30 years ago.
So the way I took that, if it says that, somebody can correct me. If it, then the way I took that is that sure it lands on the second action, but that's so you don't get like a double punch or some crap. I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna have you standing. I just think it's silly to have you standing there just because you decided to take a punch.
Well,
I'm
just
gonna have you run out of actions.
You have to think of it this way. A power punch takes two actions. So the first action is you going like this.
That doesn't take 3 seconds. Anywhere even close to 3 seconds.
You're bracing yourself. You're putting one foot in front of the other to get a power stance. You're bringing your hands up like this, and then it comes down on the next circle of on the next initiative. It comes down. Now, if you doing it that way, there is no recovery because you did that on the front end. You missed your action on the front end or used your action on the front end. The next initiative, you can do a regular attack, no problem. On your normal initiative, that's just the same, doesn't matter. But you are using that first of 2 actions winding up.
Yeah, that's silly.
That's the way it is.
That's just, well, no.
It's silly, but it's the way it is. Now, if you wanna homebrew that at your table, absolutely fine. Obviously, it's fine. And a lot of people don't do combat like that at all. They do, hey, you got initiative, you can use as many attacks as you want, and then move on to the next person initiative order, and then they can use as many attacks as they want. I've seen more people do that than the rules as written way.
Yeah,
I've done that too.
Yeah, I don't like the recovery thing either. I think that is what I took my punch and I'm like, whew, I punched you, man. Hold on a second. Like, it's ridiculous.
Well, I understand for a power jump kick, you're not going to, automatically recover at the end of that kick. You might roll, you might have to, pop yourself back up. I consider it like a Kirk kick. You remember he would do a jump double kick and then fall on the ground, but he would knock over the Gorn, right? He would take time to gather himself at the end to get back up. That's where he's losing an action. You can think of it like that. And it's perfectly visualized in your head. You can see it, especially if you watch TOS Star Trek. He does it all the time. When he's facing a bigger opponent, he kicks with both his legs and lands on his ass. That's what he does.
It's funny because even chat isn't settled on it. We've got, I do the same thing. Max, okay, then we have, where's another one? Somebody said, there you go, that's standard Palladium right there. So that's with you. Then there's, well, this one says it's both. The original Power Punch takes 2 actions as written. On the second version is more, it lands on the second action. Look,
second
I
edition.
want to be very clear.
works
I'm not trying to fight with him and his style and how he's trying to do it. If there's anything I'm quibbling with is the idea that there's only one right way to do that, because if you put that in the context of a fight, I think it's really silly to have the power up or the cooldown. You know, I get you can't have everybody power punching constantly. Also, I seem to remember, I don't know why I didn't see it there, but I seem to remember that where I've seen it written down, you can only do it as the first attack of a round.
It didn't say it there, but yes, I've seen that happen as well. You're not imagining things. You're not wrong. I've seen that happen. Like if you want to do a power attack, it has to be your first action in that initiative string. And that's it.
So I just ultimately say you use your actions until you're out of them, and if you didn't save any for dodge, and he still has 2 attacks left because you wanted to, power punch and leap kick or whatever else, well, that's on you. Sorry that you don't have any actions left, and that's just, to me, it just seems easier and keeps the game flowing. I don't think any of them are wrong. I think because the Palladium system, even with that 2 action stuff, it's flexible enough to handle all of those.
Yeah, Polyrobotics says, Kevin says you do you at your table. Yeah, well, Kevin says that about everything because he doesn't want to take a side. I will take a side.
So
he doesn't want to alienate anyone because he wants people to buy his stuff. I get it.
Kevin also believes, that role playing is personal. That that just because he writes the stuff, and he said this to you guys, he said it behind the scenes to us, where he's like, he writes the stuff to put out there. Yes, he's got worlds. Yes, he's got a system. It's funny because you guys hear a lot that that a lot of things that Heathen Dog says, and Kevin and Sean are like, I like the way you're thinking about that. The one thing that they piggyback on me is he likes that term framework. And I actually want to talk to him about that framework thing. And I think that's important. I wish more people, some games you can't. Pathfinder, it's really difficult to use as a framework because you adjust one thing, that domino effect really messes up other stuff. But I wish more people would look at the games as frameworks and less as rules encyclopedia, like war games, so rules encyclopedia, well, for lack of a better term, type stuff. And then just as long as you're clear with your players, just go on. And he truly believes that. He's not, he said he's saying it for sales for the books, but Kevin actually truly believes that. Like, he wants you to play at your table your way. So,
okay. The only way to get it off the screen is to actually stop sharing altogether.
That's weird. Okay. Well, are you ready for your last? Oh wait,
we gotta go ahead and finally wrap this up.
Gotta finish up. All right. Well, there you go. There's a lot of Q&A and a little bonus Q&A between me and Heathen Dog there. What do you think? Do you have yet another way of doing initiative? Not just the wind up, the cool down, and the what do I call mine? Just the standard rotation, I guess you'd say. If you're too, oh wow, I got thunder going on. If you're too crazy though, like you don't use the action system, we don't want to hear from you. That's not Palladium. Within the Palladium construct,
there is a thing as too far in the weeds, people.
Right. With that said, though, hopefully you enjoyed that Q&A. Was there a question there you really liked? One that actually cleared something up for you? Did you think one was really, really retarded? Let us know in the comments. And with that, I hope you all have a great day.